try this.
Good day everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. Please try this. A channel motivated to share knowledge, a channel that loves you. My name is Pindeni and I'm pleased to join you today as we are now on video number 5 of our game development series, our indie game development series. And remember, we are going to be using Armory3D and Blender. So on this video, we are going to be setting up our project, setting up our scenes. The reason why is because we need to have a structure that is orderly, because this is a big project. We don't want to get confused in future. So now what I'm going to do is first creating a folder, a new folder. I'm going to first create a new folder. So I'm going to navigate to my files. Remember, I'm on Linux. If you are on whatever operating system, you can do the same. I've navigated to my documents and I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to name it Game Project. Right, so this is our folder Game Project. Now I'm going to be launching my Blender. So in Linux, I prefer launching it from the terminal so that I see any compilation errors that may arise. So I'm going to navigate and look for my terminal. If you are on other operating system, you can go ahead and launch that executable file of Blender. So let me navigate. It's in the documents, the Blender, and run. So, right, I'm now on my Blender is launched. My Blender is launched. Remember this scene, the cube scene. It is the one we used in the previous video to render and see if our Armory and our Blender are working well. And yes, the cube got rendered correctly, which means everything is fine. Now we are doing the serious stuff. We are now doing the serious stuff. Remember, Armory does not compile projects which are not saved. So the first thing we are going to do in our setup is to save our project. So I'm going to save this blend file. I'm going to go on File and I'm going to go on Save. And I'm going to navigate to my documents and find that folder, that new folder, Game Project. So I'm going to give it a name. I don't have a name for my game now. So I'm just going to call my game Game. So I'm going to say Game in small letters here. And I'm going to save this blend file. When I now have a name for my project, I'm going to change here and put the name of my game. So we have saved, which is the first step. Now what I'm going to do is do a scene setup. The reason why I'm doing a scene setup is because when I'm doing my Armory and Blender projects, I prefer everything to be in one blend file. The reason being that I just want everything to be in one file, my game assets be in one file, my levels be in one file. And when I want a certain asset in my level, I just call it from the other scene and bring it to the other scene. So they are going to be in one blend file separated by different scene names. I hope that makes sense. So what we are going to do is we are going to have this scene be our game asset scene. I'm going to model all my assets into this scene, and when I need them in another scene, I'll just call them via our game engine. So the scene name is here, and this scene name is scene. I'm going to change it in a while, but we need to agree on the naming method of our scene. And the way I like doing it is as follows. I first put a number so that I know which scene comes after the other. So I'm going to put a number underscore the scene name. So I'm going to do that right now. This scene is my game asset scene. So this is where I'm going to store all my game assets. So I'm going to first put 0. Reason why it's 0 is because this scene is not going to be visible to my player. The player is not going to see this scene. So I'm going to name it Game Asset. Game Assets. Okay. So this scene is going to be Game Assets, 0 Game Assets. That is where I'm going to put my bullets and put everything, my heroes, and I'll call them from this scene to the other scene. So if you want to create a new scene, there is this icon here. If you browse, it says new scene. So when I need a new scene, I'm going to left click here and press left click new. And then I'm now on a new scene. Remember the previous scene, the game asset had a cube. This one does not have a cube. And as the naming method goes, I'm going to left click, and maybe this one will be my intro scene. You know, every game when it starts, it has an intro or an animation that plays. Like I play FIFA at times and it starts with EA Sports, you know, something like that. So I'm going to say 1, which means this scene is the first scene which is going to be visible to my player. And I'm going to name it intro. So this scene is going to play my intro into the game, which is lovely, right? So 1 intro. Now, if I want to go back to my game asset, I will just go on this arrow here. It says browse scene to be linked. If I press, it will show me the scenes which I have. So I'm going on 0 game assets because I'm now preparing to model. So now I think we are ready to model in this scene. In this video, what I'm just going to do is press A on my keyboard and it will select everything. Everything is selected. And I'm going to press X, which is to delete in Blender, and press delete so that we have a new fresh scene here. And then this is where I'm going to model all my game assets. If you want, you can go and gather your game assets from some free sites there, or some, you can get them from other websites that offer game assets. What I'm going to do is model them myself. You know, I'm that guy who just wants to do things for myself. So I'm going to model them in here. I'm going to press Ctrl S, which is just to save. I'm going to save these scenes. So we have managed to set up our project for modeling. We now have a game project folder. We now have a game.blend file where we are going to develop our game. And remember, I said I don't have a name for my game yet, so I'm just going to call it game here. And also, we now have 2 scenes, which are intro and game assets. So I'm going to start working on this scene game assets in the next video. Thank you for watching, guys. Thank you. And please remember to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you very much.